Hey friends, so I just wanted to give you all an update since it's been a while since I've basically filmed a long form video. This might be a long video. If it is, I apologize. But lately there's just been a lot that's been happening as to why I haven't been posting on my YouTube channel. And for starters, as you guys or some of you guys know, that I've been really sick a lot, and you guys also know that I did have had sepsis in the past from a really bad kidney infection, which I did post a video on that, and if you haven't seen it then you're more than welcome to check it out. I feel like I haven't updated you guys with any of that as to how I'm doing, but I am kind of doing okay. I did figure out the reasons why I was getting frequent UTIs, and it's because I found out that I have stage 3 endometriosis. It was along my bladder and my uterus and other places. That's why I was getting frequent UTIs. It took me about 14 years to get a diagnosis. It was definitely a very long time for me to get my diagnosis, which was really crazy, but it basically explained everything that I've been going through, because some of you guys also know that I was diagnosed with gastroparesis around 2020 or 2021, and I was really struggling to eat and I was losing a lot of weight. But then after I had my surgery, my excision surgery actually, I've noticed that I started to feel a little bit better. I was able to eat again. I've actually been able to gain weight. I think I'm at like 103 pounds, which is very incredible because I've never been this weight in my life. I've always been in the 70s or like up into like the 90 pounds. So it was between that, from 72 pounds to 90 pounds. It was definitely a struggle to gain weight, but I'm finally at a point where I am gaining weight, and I'm just really happy about that. So essentially, I think it had something to do with my endometriosis, because I did another gastric emptying test in the past, and I think this was about a year ago after my excision surgery. I found out that my stomach emptying was normal, which took it basically took the surgeon by surprise, because it was really weird, because before I was severe delayed with my stomach emptying, but now it's like in the normal side, which doesn't make sense. So we kind of feel like maybe the endometriosis was the cause of all of my issues, especially considering the frequent UTIs, and not only the frequent UTIs but also the bladder inflammation that I was having and the frequency and all of that. There was just a lot of things that were going on, and it just made me feel very much less motivated to film long form content. So I feel like I kind of was more focused on short form because it was quick and a little bit more easier to do compared to long form content. So that's why I kind of disappeared, because I was going through a lot mentally and physically with my chronic illness, because during the time I didn't know what was going on, and then of course after the surgery I was dealing with a lot of things mentally and physically. And then on top of that, I also found out that I have POTS as well. So it explained the reason why I was getting like low blood pressure, the reason why I had like heat intolerance, and why I just felt so sick with like my heart rate going fast when standing. It was just a lot. So I just felt very unwell, and I'm not going to lie, like I still am in a position where I don't feel as okay. I'm still trying to learn as I go in this journey dealing with endo and POTS, because obviously there's no cure for both of these conditions. So I am very much struggling with that. And then on top of that, I actually have decided that I would like to travel to at least Dallas, Texas to see an endometriosis specialist, because I've tried different kinds of hormonal therapy and it's just not helping me, especially because I'm at risk for bleeding and blood clotting, so I can't really take combination pills. So I've tried progesterone only, and it basically triggers my POTS. I've also tried an IUD, and that sent me to the ER because it also triggered my POTS. So it's very hard to manage my endometriosis, and I feel kind of stuck. So at the moment I may have to travel, because sadly we don't have access to endometriosis specialists. I've been dealing with that on top of everything else and the whole POTS, and it's just a lot overall. So that's kind of why I also disappeared. I just really didn't feel as motivated to do long form content anymore. I was just basically so stuck and just trying to survive through all of this. But I do want to get back to filming long form content. However, just know that it's gonna be very hard to be as consistent like I used to be, because I used to film at least 1 to 2 times a week when it came to long form, but I'm just like incredibly busy from doing like gaming content and beauty content, so it is a lot. And I also do stream, so I'm kind of trying to manage my health at the same time and manage my content creation. And I've noticed that I have a habit of overworking myself with content from the point where I end up burned out, and I do make myself sick and I cause myself flares, because I'm just so, I guess, addicted to creating content that I do it way too much and frequently, that I don't take the time to take care of myself, such as like skipping meals, not drinking enough fluids, or just like, you know, as soon as I wake up, I'm automatically on my computer and I start editing. I just completely not eat and stuff, and that's not good. So I am trying my best to understand my body a little bit more. And secondly, I'm also trying to manage my endo and my POTS at the same time, but it is getting really difficult sometimes. It has gotten to the point where I do require like a walker sometimes, especially whenever like I'm just struggling to get by because I'm so weak, especially dealing with iron deficiency on top of that. So that makes it hard. So lately I've been using a lot of mobility aids like canes, walkers, stuff like that. So sometimes it gets really hard. Like I said, I still want to do my best to come back to YouTube. However, there is going to be some changes with my content. A few changes with my content is I do want to add in some more like streaming stuff, like get ready with me to stream or cosplay makeup, stuff like that. Other than just the simple vlogging or the, you know, the casual, I guess I want to say basic makeup looks. There's just a lot that I want to add in my channel, and like I said, that's cosplaying and whatnot. I feel like I just wasn't really as happy with doing what I was doing in the past. I felt like I was getting very much burnt out and I felt overworked, and not only that, I started to get bored of the repetitive content that I was doing. So I feel like in my heart, I definitely want to change it up. So of course my channel is going to be a lot more different than from what it was. Of course, I'm still gonna be doing fashion, beauty, and stuff like that, but I also want to show more of my side. I want to show more of my cosplay life and my streaming life, like, you know, getting ready to stream and all of that. I also wanted to let you guys know that I did start a petition for endometriosis on change.org, which I'll have it linked in the description box, and you all are more than welcome to check that out as well. I decided to do this because with endometriosis, it is very much a misunderstood condition. A lot of medical professionals think that endometriosis is a reproductive issue or just a bad period issue, but it's not. It is a full body inflammatory disease, and it does affect a lot of organs. So I wanted to go out of my way to basically set up a petition in the hopes that we can have some changes with endometriosis, such as more access to endometriosis specialists, because we really do need that, because it's a very complicated disease. Like, I honestly feel like a gynecologist isn't the right person to go to for this kind of disease. I feel like we need an actual endometriosis specialist to basically target that disease that is like basically everywhere in the body. I think that's really, really important. So that's why I did this, and I feel like the medical system needs a lot of education when it comes to endometriosis, and we also need more money for the research funding for it, because we don't have a lot of research on this disease, which is really crazy because we are in 2025 and the medical professionals are barely learning about endo, so it's crazy. So I honestly wanted to start up this petition. So like I said, you guys are more than welcome to check it out. I would really appreciate it. I also started a podcast with my best friend. My bestie has GBS, and of course, you guys, like I said, I have POTS and endo, and I wanted to help spread awareness, especially within my community where there's not a lot of medical access. So I thought it would be a better idea to talk about chronic illness and just basically create a space for people that are dealing with chronic illness, so that way other people won't feel as alone or isolated, especially if they're dealing with similar symptoms as we are. So we decided to do that. You're more than welcome to check out our podcast channel. It is in the description box. We also have our own Spotify, and it is up there with Apple as well, so you guys can check it out. Everything will be linked down in the description box. So yeah, I just wanted to update you guys with all of that. There's been a lot of changes, and I know it's a lot. You guys are probably like, oh my gosh, like it's a lot to take in. I know. There's just been so much that has been happening in my life, so I decided to change it up a lot because I feel like I would like to help when it comes to the chronic illness community. I feel like it is, since I'm the one struggling with all of this, I would like to voice all my concerns and share everything deeply with people that are also struggling, because I don't want anybody else to feel alone and isolated just like I did, because for a long time, for many years, I felt so isolated because nobody could figure out what was wrong with me, and I finally had my diagnosis, so it makes things a little bit, I don't know, like a little bit more comforting, even though at the same time it is very sad that I have these conditions and I am struggling with them. I still feel at a point where I am relieved to know that I know what's wrong with me, and I'm not as worried as to like second guessing and wondering what is happening to my body, you know? I hope that makes sense. That's essentially everything, guys. I just wanted to keep you all updated. I am doing okay. Like I said, I'm just trying to manage my chronic illness. I do want to come back to my YouTube channel. I do want to do a lot of long form content. Just know it's gonna be a little bit slower than usual because I'm more tired. I'm always like chronically fatigued. I have a lot of I essentially have chronic fatigue syndrome, so it is definitely really hard as well on me because I'm dealing with like the POTS, the endo, and then my other conditions as well. So all of it just makes me so tired constantly, so it's really hard to function sometimes, especially dealing with like brain fog and all that. And for those that have POTS and endo, I'm pretty sure you get where I'm coming from. So it is kind of hard to film and do a lot of work. Sometimes I need rest days, and that's okay, and that's something that I have to try to learn for myself. Like I have to kind of learn to be a little bit more patient instead of just rushing and being on the go, because I'm the kind of person that's like a workaholic. I am so used to being on the go. I just want to get everything done and finished. But now I'm trying to learn this whole new thing with my body that I can't do that to myself. I have to be incredibly patient and kinder, because if I'm not, then I will literally just flare up and I'll be in bed for weeks, and I can't do that to myself. So it is going to be a little bit slow whenever I push out content on my YouTube channel, because it's a little harder with long form content because you're shooting long form and then you have to go hours with the footage and you have to edit and stuff. So it does take me a while, as compared to like short form content. It's just like boom, 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 you know, post and you get it done. But I do a lot. So I am managing my chronic illness podcast, and I'm managing my chronic illness pages. Of course, those pages are only like, it's not something where I'm like really consistent with. I just post whatever I feel like. That way it kind of lowers my stress and I won't be worried about it. It's just I want to post what I want and share my chronic illness journey and help spread awareness as much as I can in my own terms. Not in a way where like I need to be consistent, you know, I have to do this, I have to reach that, you know. It's not like that. Compared to like my gaming and my beauty, it's a little bit different. See, with my gaming and beauty, I have to be really consistent all the time. So that's what makes it really difficult for me to like shoot long form content every it makes it difficult for me to post long form content on YouTube like 1 or 2 times a week, like really quickly, when I'm posting a bunch of other things and I'm also streaming on top of that. So essentially, you guys, I do a lot, so it's really difficult, but I do want to do my best to come back to YouTube, and I do want to post, so expect future content. I am going to be posting. I'm going to be doing my best to be a little bit more consistent, but also while taking it easy for myself, because there's so much that I have to do. Thank you all so much for supporting me. I truly appreciate it. Sorry that it has been a while since I even talked to you guys and let you all know what's been happening, but there it is. Also, I want to thank you all so much that basically you guys have been sharing your sepsis story with me on my YouTube video. Thank you. I honestly had no idea that my video would even get that far. I didn't even think people would even watch it or even pay attention to it, and I'm getting a little bit emotional, but I didn't think you guys would ever see that, and it breaks my heart that you guys have been going through sepsis too. And I know it's not an easy journey. I know it's incredibly hard, and I know sometimes it feels like you just can't do it and you feel like a completely different person after you get sepsis. I know it doesn't feel the same, but I just want you guys to know that everything will be okay and you're not alone. There is a community out there for you guys that are struggling with sepsis. Just know that you are not alone. I am also here for you guys. Thank you so much for sharing your story with me. Like, I treasure all your stories in my heart, and I'm so sorry that you guys have even gone through any of that. I know not a lot of people can say that they made it out through sepsis. It's a very scary, traumatic thing. I know very well, too well, I had to go to therapy to deal with the trauma from that. Just know that, like I said, you guys are not alone. I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for even opening up to me and just being vulnerable and sharing your story, because that not only helps me feel less alone and isolated, but it also helps other people that may feel less alone and isolated. And I just want you guys to know that you are no way alone through any of that. And I'll be sure to share like a link to a group that I'm actually in, full of people that have, you know, been going through, who have been through sepsis as well, and they've been super caring and supportive towards me. And if you guys need a community like that, I'll be sure to post that in the description box. That way you all could check it out, because I know how hard it is, especially dealing with post-sepsis syndrome, which I don't think a lot of people talk about, which is something that I do want to talk about in one of my podcast episodes, because not a lot of people talk about that, and I feel like it's incredibly important, especially because I don't think medical professionals usually ever pay attention to post-sepsis syndrome, and I think it's really important to stay informative with that, especially if loved ones want to know how to be supportive towards someone who has gone through it, you know what I mean? But thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate that. I hope that you guys enjoy my future content. There's gonna be a lot of changes. Until then, guys, thank you all so much for the support. Bye!